sisters. And you should grow up, as the Rebbe writes in his letter, for a chassid in Shemayim and a lamdim. As I look around the room, as far as I can see, I believe I'm one of the oldest members in the room tonight. And I think back at my bar mitzvah over 60 years ago in New York City in my father's shul. Dovid is named after my father. We had a little shul of Holocaust survivors. And I was an American kid, brought up on the regular normal baseball, basketball, etc. And I would come to shul and look at all these men who had gone through hell, who had lost families, children, brothers and sisters. And usually on Rosh Hashanah, to Tkiyah Shofar and to Yizker, I was, as used, and my wife likes to use this word very frequently, traumatized. Because everyone at that time was living with memories which were not very pleasant. And came my bar mitzvah. I was an only son. As you all know, an only son is very spoiled, as my sisters always say. And as a result of that, when it came to my bar mitzvah and I had to face the crowd, and my father realized that he's got to deliver the goods. So I got up and I spoke for quite a while. Some people said it was a bit too long. So that's why I'll make it very short this evening. What we see from that episode is that after Noach, after the Mabul, after the flood, when the world is destroyed and you have to start afresh and anew, you have to start from the very, very beginning, and you have to feel positive, you have to feel creative, you have to feel productive in order to start a new world, in order to make this world, as my mitzvah boy said in his Maimer, Adira lo yizborach. And as you look at the Rebbe's life, when he started out, the First World War, communism, the Second World War, only difficulties and hardships and terrible situations from beginning to end. And yet the Rebbe remained always the most positive individual, creative, with a tremendous love of every single Jew and an unbelievable belief in the potential of every single Jew on this earth. And then you get to Lech Lecha, to Avraham Avinu in this week's Sedra, where Avraham Avinu's got to go out to this big world and be the only one to scream, Havaya Hu Elikim, that there's one God, and He is the one who's running the show, and He wants us to behave in a certain way. And he's very successful, him and his wife. Avram Megayeres Ha'anoshim. Avram took care of the men. V'Sora Megayeres Es Hanoshim. Now maybe the bar mitzvah boy will explain to me later what kind of geiris was going on at that time. What kind of geiris did they have? They had the Shabbat mitzvahs anyway. But the bar mitzvah boy will discuss it in the next few months. So my bracha to the bar mitzvah boy is as follows. Number one, you always have to think positive. You have to realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you potential. You have a chelek elikah mimal mamosh. And that you're able, as you have shown us in the past few years, that you have tremendous potential in learning, using your brain, using your heart, and being able to realize Tamu Uru Ki Tov Hashem, that when we learn Torah, when we daven, when we dance, there is a joy and there is a love and there is an unbelievable self-satisfaction that we can connect our souls to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. My father was born in a little town He told me once that if there was 40 families, it was a lot. And he never knew when his birthday was because they never had any registrar there. There was just a few Eden. And there were 2 shuls, however. One that people went to and one that you didn't go to. And he went to the shul that most people didn't go because he liked the singing there. And it came Rosh Hashanah and they sang Odom Yisoidoi Me'ofar, that man comes from dusts, the Soifoi Le'ofar. And when he finishes up, they put him down in the dust. So you would have thought such a sobering fact, people would sing it in a very sober, quiet tone. And he said to me they did the exact opposite. They started dancing as if it was Simchas Torah. And him being a very sensitive child could not understand it. You're talking about Odom Yisoidoi Me'ofar, man comes from dust and returns to dust. What are you getting so excited about? When he got older, he said he realized that this little dust, and as Chassidim used to say, Azak Beiner mit Zudike Blut, a sack of bones with some hot blood, is able to reach the highest level, Batachsereo Me'at Melikim, can connect himself with Atzmas Eisov Baruch Hu, and to fulfill Lasis Loyis Baruch, and to make this world a dwelling place for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every Jew, makes no difference where you come from, who you come from, you're able to make this world a place that God feels comfortable. So my bracha to the Bar Mitzvah boy is as follows. The talent that you have, the talent that your parents instill in you, your teachers instill in you, you should use to its utmost. Which means if you have a responsibility to be someone who is all the way up there, don't be satisfied with 20%, 30%. The Rebbe Nishma Seid writes that how come when we learn Chassidus, we talk about such high, lofty ideals? Because if you start thinking high, you get at least somewhere around there. If you start with the 10% and 20%, you get absolutely nowhere. So Dovid Shage, you're named after a very special individual. Never cared about Gashmias. Never was interested in anything else but ideals of Torah, mitzvahs, Ma'asim Tovim, Eretz Yisrael, and Chesed. I remember when I was sitting Shiva, a person came in and told us that when he was living in Russia, he used to get packages from my father's. My mother looked at him and said, "What do you mean he got packages?" I ran the finances, and it tells the family sometimes the women seem to have the credit cards and the other things. I don't want to go into that, it's a long story, which we won't talk about publicly. But at the end of the day, my mother looked at the guy and said, "He never asked me for money for this and money for that." I said, "I can't help you, madam." But every few months we would get a package. On Tummel, on Rash, always willing to help. And therefore, you have a very, very difficult task maybe to live up to such personalities. The Zaydis, the Elder Zaydis, Rabbi Gronol of Hasholem and Torah, and all of the yiches, which we all say, yiches is like a lot of zeros, but if you have no number before it, you have absolutely nothing. And Baruch Hashem, we see you've started the different siyumim, one after the other. Like Baruch should give you the koyach, hasmoda, ushkida, and as the Rebbe writes in his letter, Hashem yatzlichoi. It's a success. It doesn't come by itself. It's a success when you put your head and your mind learning yoymo v'laylo, and not to be distracted by all the problems that we have. Well, we've got plenty of problems. But to do what the Rebbe wants of us, bring down the Shechina Lamato, and as the Rebbe told us and promised us, He'll be with us wherever we go. And the most important thing, we'll all be Zoiche to this Galus of Melech HaMashiach, and the building of the third Beis Hamikdash, and all go to Yerushalayim. B'korev mamish, mazel tov, mazel tov.
Das gehört zu nicht, jeder weiß.
One of your